located between Ocala and Bellevue.
Again, it's Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? A nursery with a wide variety of just what you need or want at the most reasonable prices.
Kenny's Place, of course.
Kenny's Place at 7677 Southeast 41st Court. Give them a call at 867-1213. It's a caring place for people and plants. It's Kenny's Place. All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. How many of you are entrepreneurs, started your own business? It could be anything. It could be anything from a landscaping company that you started out as with a lawnmower when you were a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And now maybe you have maybe you got several guys that work for you cutting grass and etc. It is one of the beautiful things about living in this country is the fact that you really can. It's not easy. Nobody ever said it was easy.
Right.
And there's a lot of mistakes you make along the way, but you really do have an opportunity to pull yourself up from nothing and make something out of yourself, and it's just an amazing thing. I love that fact about where we are and who we are. Steve Mariotti has been on so many different programs. It's an honor to have him on our show. He's been on 2020, ABC Evening News, Fox Business. He has written for the Wall Street Journal, for the Huffington Post. He's a best-selling author. His book is called An Entrepreneur's Manifesto. Steve Mariotti is the founder of the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. So I am all ears because, Robin, even though I work for an employer here at the radio station, and you do too.
Yes.
We are at heart entrepreneurs. We have tried and failed so many times.
Yes.
It's been fun. But it hasn't necessarily for fun. You know how the ad you say for fun and profit?
Yes.
It's been fun. I don't say it's been that profitable. It's almost like the lottery. It's like when it is profitable, it's like an accident. Yes. Steve Mariotti. Good morning, Steve. How you doing?
Pretty good. That was funny.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I live in Princeton, New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you for calling in from there. And gosh, what an honor to have you on our show. So, will I be able to understand this?
The book? Or?
The book, yeah. I want to sharpen my entrepreneur skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It actually wasn't written as a how to do it.
Okay.
I had written, for 30 years, 33 years, textbooks and people can get them online and everything. But this book was more of a calling or a rallying cry to the world to make it easier for people, particularly low-income people, to start businesses. And the preface and the last chapter, I think, are really powerful. So
read the beginning and the end.
And then if people like that, they should read everything in between. But I'm 61, and I've been working in the field of entrepreneurship education for particularly for low-income people since '81, and I'm thinking about it like all the time. And somehow, a year ago, when my editor at Templeton Press, who's phenomenal, and she had the idea for the book. It wasn't organized, and then she and other people edited it, and I was amazed. Like, when I read it, I went, who wrote this? I want to meet him.
Oh, that's funny. So do you think that we, I love what you said, that you wanted to encourage, it sounds like what you were saying, you want to encourage people who have a low income to, instead of waiting for the government to raise the minimum wage, which is, it's the talk. But I always think, why don't we just encourage people to start their own business? I don't know what it is in your city, in where are you, Princeton?
Princeton.
But in Ocala, I think it's $15 for a business license. You can literally get started for a tiny amount.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I lived for 37 years in New York City, and founded an organization in '87 called the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. Very proud of it, and I'm retired from there. but it's become worldwide, and we've got a great CEO, Sean Osborne, and the website is www.nfte Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, nfte.com. It's a nonprofit, but when we went online with that was the you can only get a .com. But it's a big deal, and so my life's work has been thinking about how do you get people that are unemployed or left out of the system or coming out of prisons or in foster care, had a tough go of it.
Right.
And
I love that about you, by the way. I love the fact that you're working with people who are incarcerated to try to. I mean, you've obviously got an empathetic soul. You're looking at them saying, "Gosh, they're by the grace of God go I." Not to put words in your mouth, but it's a kind of a thought. You've helped special ed children, according to my information on you. So, I mean, clearly.
But for the grace
What's
of
that?
God go I. But for the grace of God go I. That's the key concept.
Oh, Larry says that all the time. Yeah.
I think we're all one step away from disaster, and so if you're not in a disaster, reaching back and helping other people benefits them and you and the whole. I mean, I've had a wonderful career, and my mother was a very famous special ed teacher in Michigan, Nancy Mariotti, bless her heart, and she got me interested in how to think about people that have unique learning or they're and I had a severe case of dyslexia when I was a kid. It was torture, and so she said, well, just here's a tape recorder and do what Churchill did, and you can do your books. You can start writing just by dictating. And so that was life-changing for me.
Oh, that is amazing. And there's are there so many ways to be an entrepreneur? Writing a book is a way to be an entrepreneur. You got to figure out how to sell it once it's written, which sometimes is harder than writing it for some people. But I mean, it is amazing.
Absolutely. And where people miss that, that's a really important concept, because people will write books, and President Obama is a great example. He's a wonderful man, and he wrote 2 books that are 2 of my top 20 books of all time. I love those books. And sometimes when they cross into the political world, they forget that when they were writing the book, it's an incredible entrepreneurial act, and freedom of speech and freedom of religion and freedom of press is exactly the same as economic freedom, and we shouldn't draw a line there. So I've been a huge advocate globally.
I love that. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I never thought of it that way, but you're really right. Look at this guy out in Times Square in his underwear with a guitar, the naked cowboy.
Yes.
I have no idea what this man makes, but he's been doing it for so long, it must be profitable.
I would think so.
That wasn't me, by the way. I was nowhere near.
But I mean, he had an idea. I know how to,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, you could say, you're not naked. You have underwear on. It's not exactly naked, but.
With me, it would make a little difference, right? Joke.
Too funny.
Well, one of the things you also do, sir, is that you showcase people that are doing unusual and wonderful things for others. I went online and saw those drummers, and that is just something wonderful that you help bring exposure to.
Thank you.
Yeah, Robin shared that with me.
But we spent a lot of time finding stories and put them in the book. My nephew read the book for the weekend. He called me. He's 14, and he said, Steve, started reading the first page as a chore, because he kind of had to, I was going to quiz him on it. And he said 2 hours later, I was on the last page. And
oh, wow.
It's the highest praise that somebody can pay you.
How old is he?
He's 14.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
Steve Mariotti is our guest. We have to take a little break, Steve, but we'll be right back. The book is called An Entrepreneur's Manifesto. We're getting to learn a lot more about it, and a lot more about Steve Mariotti, too. He's got a good sense of humor. Fun interview so far. So we'll take a little break. We got weather and a couple of other things, and commercials from people who are actually entrepreneurs. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny today with a thunderstorm around this afternoon and this evening, high 89 to 93. Then partly cloudy overnight, low 72 to 76. Tomorrow, sunshine mixing with building clouds. An afternoon and evening thunderstorm or two, the high 88 to 92. For Friday, times of clouds and sun with a couple of showers and thunderstorms popping up in the afternoon, the high 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Central Florida Eye Institute is the area's leader in laser vision correction. From high-definition refraction surgery and LASIK vision correction to custom cataract, glaucoma, and diabetic treatment, you can count on Dr. Crowley and his effective, friendly staff to provide you with the quality care you deserve. Call 352-237-8400 for an appointment or more information. That number again is 352-237-8400. Looking forward to service your vision needs.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need
too.
my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Want to learn more about your furnace or air conditioner? Tune in this Saturday for free tips and expert advice on how to get the most out of your heating and air conditioning system. Or get a free AC rejuvenation by being the first person to go to cleanmyac.com. That's cleanmyac.com. Saturday, free tips and expert advice on how to get the most out of your heating and air conditioning system. Or get a free AC rejuvenation by being the first person to go to cleanmyac.com. That's cleanmyac.com.
The Source has your pair of tickets to the Coke Zero 400, brought to you in part by DIY Home Center Outlet. And winning is easy. Just tune in every day for your cue to call and get registered. And for even more chances to win, stop by the DIY Home Center Outlet, 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just next to Dollar General, and enter your name to win a pair of tickets to the Coke Zero 400. Prizes to be given away live on air July 1st, so you'd better race down to DIY Home Center Outlet and keep it tuned right here to The Source.
Hey Ocala, this is Kelly Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us #1. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
All right, 18 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We're speaking to Steve Mariotti up in Princeton, New Jersey, and he's written a book called The Entrepreneur's Manifesto. If you look at his credentials, he has been on every talk show probably out there. We're talking about entrepreneurship, and I just love this conversation. Steve, I have a visual in my mind that I wanted to share with you. The visual is this, that we have this place called the United States of America, and on the shore right there in Jersey, we have this guy with a big megaphone, and the megaphone is calling out across the ocean to everybody over there that's in a country where you can't start your own business. Hey, over here we can start our own business. And all the people who hear that say, yes, let's get in a boat and go over there and start our own business. The problem is we need to turn the megaphone around, because there's a lot of people who were born and raised right here that don't get it. They don't realize we've got that opportunity right here. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, and there's whole chapters on that in the book. We spent a ton of time getting the research and reviewing it, and sadly, the U.S. ranks 18th in the criteria for the ease of starting a business, and our tax code. We didn't even count that. I mean, our tax code is so messed up that it plays into the advantage of wealthy people and the existing ownership community against workers and poor people. It's the exact opposite of what you'd think we'd have, and it's corrupt. And I try not to use, that kind of language, but the tax code is, something that we've got to fix. And I think the other key concept that we want to talk to people about is that essentially you're always in business for yourself. And people that are low income or locked into a situation are often taught that they're workers. And there's like a different concept of workers and owners and capitalists and entrepreneurs. And about 10 years ago, I started to think of it differently, that essentially we're always in business for yourself and you own your future time. And if people started to think of that way, I mean, the only difference I can see between an entrepreneur, as we're defining it now, and see somebody who's working is who pays the tax directly to a government. And then, you get into all the tactics, the details of that, and often a worker will just have one market, his boss, and then the person that is the owner or the entrepreneur will have multiple markets. So it's a lot less stress. I talk a lot in the book about the stress of having one boss, and then, who are the happiest people in the world are without question the entrepreneurs. It's the universal finding, and particularly for women. Women, their indexes of happiness go off the charts when you plot it against, self-employment, or where you have control over your time a little bit more. And I think that's really important. And I do, I love this country, but I also think that, I try not to think of it as us versus them. I try to think of it as one world where, everybody would have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, and be encouraged to own. And so I try not to think of it by, really there are names of regions that are governed by different governments. And, here we had the incredible stroke of genius of the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, those documents that came, within really 6 years of each other were like, a genius insight. And I wish that for everybody in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the one thing is you can't have an entrepreneurship that grows without having people who are not entrepreneurs, because you have to have employees in order for your entrepreneurship to go beyond the hot dog stand. You have to have, if you want to have a hot dog restaurant, you're going to have staff. So it's not to belittle people who are employees. It's just the opportunity is there if you want to. And I like the fact that, I love what you said when you said that an employee has one market. It's your boss. Your boss is your market. Yes. You think about it that way.
Yeah, that took me a long time to think of that. And in the beginning of the book, the beauty of writing a book is it makes you go back and think about what happened. So this was a huge blessing for me that I was, had the support to do this. But years ago, I was in a meeting with one of the wealthiest men in the country, and great guy, and he would spend $5 million a year on getting scholarships for low-income kids to go to private schools, which was great. And I asked him, I said, well, why aren't you also talking to them about what you've done with your life, which is to create this huge venture capital company? And he started it, 11 companies that went public, and et cetera, and he made billions of dollars. And he looked at me and he goes, but then, Steve, who would do the work?
There you go.
We didn't say anything to each other for 70 seconds. Mm-hmm. And how long that is? And then he goes, "Oh my God, what did I say?" And so there's that concept too within our conversation.
And then you have the people that are just lazy. They don't want to make anything of themselves or help somebody else. And they're the targets of those terrorist groups out there because they look at it as free money. It's being employed by someone, and then they have free money.
You know, I look at it slightly differently. That I never think of it in terms of, I agree with 99%. The only thing that I find really interesting is the concept of being lazy. It's actually a time preference thing, that some people are choosing that they want to be more in leisure versus, you know, what is perceived as the harder worker. And, you know, I'm not judgmental on that. And then most of the young people that I've met that, you know, have had the, you know, opportunity to travel all over the place, and in different countries, they would with young unemployed people, and we would chat. And you know, the number one thing was they were looking for some way to make a livelihood. So it's this whole thing, particularly for young men, is a huge deal because, just like you said, if they can't find a way to make a livelihood or have some respect in the community, they're discarded. They can't get married. It's beyond belief in overseas. It's in certain countries. It's a nightmare. So it's just what you said, that people go along, say, well, we have a salary for you, and this is what we want to do, and it leads to all kinds of tragic things. So.
Yeah, no, I really agree.
I think the sole point I was making is they're not lazy. They're desperate to get some type of employment. And
there's a certain aspect of just simply not believing that you could actually come up with an idea, and you don't have to reinvent the mousetrap. You can sell hot dogs, for example. You can, you can make the same knick-knack that the guy down the road makes, and just but then there's competition. Let me allow a phone call if you don't mind. Steve Mariotti is our guest. The book is An Entrepreneur's Manifesto. Good morning. You're on the air with Steve.
Good morning. Good morning. There's a potential entrepreneurship window opening up here in Florida when the status of same-sex marriage is finally cleared up. In Florida, notary publics can perform weddings, and many of the court clerks have been given the option of not performing same-sex weddings in the various counties around the states. So for the price of obtaining a notary public's commission, you can go into the wedding business in Florida.
I think you're going to make a whole lot with that.
I'd love to write about that. If you email me, I'll do a story on that.
Have a good day.
I have a column in Huffington Post, but thank you.
All right. If you could email Steve, he would appreciate it. Do you want to give your email address out?
Sure. I'm flattered when somebody contacts me. It's stevemariotti@gmail.com.
Okay. Easy enough. And by the way, we're at the end, so I guess we have to give out the information on getting the book. I've loved this conversation, let me tell you, and I love what you do. I love the fact that you take people who don't see their own potential and you help them see it. That's what I think I see in both the work you've done with the inmates and with the special ed kids. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was an economist that I urge everybody to read a Wikipedia page about him, because he won the Nobel in '74, and I was lucky enough to be his assistant in '77 for 4 months. And Frederick Hayek, Hayek, and in his classic article, which people should read the English translation in '46. It was cover story in the American Economic Review, and it's paragraph 11, 9 and 11, and he talks about the concept that every human being has a comparative advantage and has unique knowledge of time and place. So when you just said hot dog stand, there's millions of those because the entrepreneur has, he knows what's going on in his or her block.
Steve, thank you.
And
I don't mean to cut you off, but we are up against the clock. I don't want you to get cut off, and I don't want to sound rude, but thank you so much. What a great conversation. I love the idea. An Entrepreneur's Manifesto, look it up, SteveMariotti.com. That's your website?
Yeah, I had a ball. Thanks.
All right, thank you. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio. I'm Millian Wu. Lawmakers in South Carolina remembering a colleague today killed in last week's mass church shooting. State Senator Clementa Pinckney to lie in state the killing